The Upanishads on death and beyond. The concept of death is a mysterious aspect daunting humanity from time immemorial. Even the mere mention of this word death makes one to tremble. It causes great anxiety, creates unbearable fear in the minds of everyone. Though man is aware of the unavoidability of death, he is still afraid of facing it as he thinks that it is the end of everything. But all this is all this is due to the wrong understanding of the concept. The fear caused by wrong understanding of a particular concept is removed when it is properly understood. Death, according to general understanding, is the permanent cessation of all biological functions that sustain a living organism. And if we define death in terms of consciousness, the living organism can be said to have died when consciousness ceases to exist. In the absence of consciousness, the body is simply a lump of inert matter. So, it is very essential to understand the nature of death to overcome the fear. The role played by the Upanishads in analyzing the nature of death is unique and appealing. Only some of the important aspects are covered in this talk. The Upanishads, also known as Vedanta, are the concluding portions of the Vedas. They are the essence, the cream, the culmination of Vedic philosophy. Being esoteric in nature, they deal with the principles of creation, nature of the ultimate reality, relation between individual soul and supreme soul, dissolution of the world, goal of life, and so on. One of the meanings of the word Upanishad is the destruction of the innate ignorance of man that causes fear of birth, old age, and death, and leading him to enlightenment and the Upanishadic salvation. Upanishadati Garbha Janma Jara Maranadikam Siddhili Karoti iti Upanishad. Upanishads being the quintessence of the Vedic knowledge and wisdom combined philosophy with experience and have been influencing human mind for the last several centuries by paving the way for transcendence from humanity to divinity. According to them, death is not the complete cessation of one's existence. Our Shastras, by suggesting a philosophical way out, warn us not to be afraid of death. O fool, why are you afraid of death? Do you think that Yama, the god of death, will spare you even if you are afraid? But it is certain that he will not catch hold of any unborn. Therefore, try not to be born again in this world. Mrichyoh bibheshi kim mudha bhitam munchati vayamaha ajatam naiva grannati kuruyatram. Here, the word ajanmani, birthlessness, constitutes three aspects. The realization of the unavoidable nature of death, proper understanding of the nature of death, belief in the permanent existence of soul. The discussion about death at length is found in the Kathoparishad. Nachiketa, cursed by his father Vajisneya, reached the abode of Yama. He was bestowed with three boons by Yama, and Nachiketa asked Yama to explain the nature of death as the third boon. He asks, when a man dies, some say that this Atman continues after death. Some say that it ceases to be. I would like to know the truth taught by you. This is the third of my boons. Then Yama, to divert his attention, told him that he was very difficult to understand even to gods. Since the truth regarding death is subtle, Yama asked Nachiketa to choose some other boon instead. But Nachiketa insisted to explain that knowledge, as it was very difficult to understand and there was no better teacher than him to expound of it, and nothing else was equal to that knowledge. Yama again tried his best to divert the attention of the boy by granting a number of worldly pleasures, such as long life, wealth of worldly comforts, but all his attempts were in vain. Ultimately, Nachiketa's inquisitiveness and firm determination that no other boon this Nachiketa will ask made Yama pleased at heart, and he explained the secret of death. The knowledge of the secret of death constitutes three aspects. What is born must die. The general dictum Jatasya Maranam Dhruvam explains that death is inevitable to a person who is born. An allegorical expression about death depicts the same thing very interestingly. There is a cage-like bird body of which all the nine doors are open. There is dwelling an air-like bird. It is surprising how it is still surviving and nothing to surprise if it goes off. उद्घाटित नवद्वारे पंजरे विहगो अनिलः यत्तिष्ठति तदाश्चर्यं प्रयाणे विस्मयः कृतः. Nachiketa has already an idea about the transitoriness of life. He, without any fear, responded to the curse of his father by requesting not to repent over it, and also added that like corn, a man ripens and falls to the ground like corn. He springs up again in his season. Anupasya yadha purve pratipasya tadha pare sasyameva martyah pachyate sasyameva ajayate punaha. The unavoidability of death is stressed in the Bhagavad Gita also, which is also considered to be the quintessence of the Upanishads. Lord Krishna speaks to Arjuna. He says, one that is born, death is certain, and certain is birth for the one that has died. Therefore, what is unavoidable, you should not grieve. जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युः ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मात् अपरिहार्येर्धे नत्वं सूचितुमर्हसि. On some other occasion, Krishna consoles Arjuna by explaining the nature of death. O Arjuna, everything in this world is created for a purpose. The moment the purpose is served, it is not needed anymore. It is even so with me. Each man is set on this strange, eventful journey called life. He has been sent to this world with a purpose. Once that purpose is served, the earth has no more need of him. It is the case with all of us, even me. I have created myself on this earth for a purpose. It is not yet over. Something still remains. The moment it is finished, I will die too. And so will you and your dear brothers. Do not grieve. Mahabharata went to the extent of ridiculing the peculiar mindset of people who thinks that life is permanent, even though they witness the death of everyone in every moment. Yudhishthira, being asked by Yaksha whether there is any amazing thing in the world, replies that every moment somebody somewhere is breathing his last. Yet The wonder of wonders is that who are alive for the moment feel as though they are assured of their lives. Ahanyahani bhutani gachanti yamamandiram anye syasvitamichanti himasyari yamatah param. So it is necessary to realize the certainty of death. Death is life and life is death. As rightly pointed out by the French philosopher Pierre Chandian, we are not physical beings having spiritual experiences, but spiritual beings having physical experiences. But man, being attached to mundane objects, ignores one's own divine nature and confines himself to the physical domain. It is our bounden duty to realize our true nature to uplift the humanity. The idea of life in this world actually being a death is no new. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus says, our life is death and our death is life. Upanishads state that death is the real state of one's own existence. It is a natural state while life is artificial. According to Nisargadatta Maharaj, a yogi, death is a change in the living process of a particular body. Integration ends and disintegration sets in. In the Mahabharata, when Arjuna was grieving over the sad demise of his son Abhimanyu, Krishna sought to disabuse his mind in the following way. O Arjuna, the boy whom you are claiming as your son came down into life from an unseen metaphysical realm. He has now gone back to that realm. He does not belong to you, even you don't belong to him. What is the good of your wailing over a matter over which you have no control? Adrusyat sa samudbhutaha punasya adrusyatangataha nasau tava natasyatvam kutohi paridevana. Kalidasa also expressed the same view when Aja, the son of Raghu, was wailing over the death of his wife Indubati. It is said that we are in an unnatural state where the life is when the life and death reinstates us to our natural state. So man is expected to be satisfied with whatever span of life he lives, and he should not grieve over death because it is his natural state. Maranam prakrtis sharirinam vikurdirjeevita uchyate buddhaihi kshanamapyavatishthate svesam yadi janturnanu labhavanasau. John Fichet, the German philosopher who lived several centuries after Kalidasa, is of the same view, who opined that what we call life is perhaps death, and what we call death takes us back to the realm from which we are shot down to this life. Death is for the body, not for soul. In the Kathopanishad, Yama explains Nachiketa in a nutshell that the man who has the knowledge of Atman neither takes birth nor dies, because Atman has neither cause nor effect. It is unborn, permanent, and eternally remains the same. Ancient, it is not killed even if the body perishes. Najayate mriyate va vipaschit mayang kutaschit nababhuva kaschit ajo nityah sasvadoyam purano nahanyate hanyamane sirine. Seeing plurality is also death. According to the Upanishads, consciousness, which is one without the second, is the primary and fundamental aspect of reality. It is both empirical and transcendental. All the universe is cradled in consciousness, which arises where there is perfect order and harmony. It plays different roles in different states of human life and beyond. The states such as waking, dreaming, deep sleep are obvious and mundane, and the fourth state, also known as Tviya, is extraordinary, hence it is supramundane. The conscious self in waking state is called Visva, a gross enjoyer of external objects in dream state, Taijasa, subtle enjoyer of internal objects. The same consciousness in deep sleep is Prajna, is the mass of cognition unified, consisting of bliss and enjoyment of bliss. The same consciousness, devoid of these three qualities, is said to be the fourth state, that is Turiya. Unlike the other three, it is supranormal, unseen, beyond empirical determination, beyond the grasp of mind, unthinkable, indescribable, consciousness alone, where all phenomena cease, unchanging, peaceful, non-dual, actionless, incomprehensible, uninferable, and in essence is the state of pure consciousness. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says that consciousness, also known as Atman, is here. The same is there. That which is there, the same is here. He suffers death after death who perceives Atman as many. Everything is only the manifestation of Atman. There is nothing different from it. One who finds diversity is repeatedly subject to birth and death. Kathopanishad also expresses the same view by using this verbatim twice. Mrityu saha mrityumapnoti yaihanane eva pasyati. On the close perusal of the Upanishads, we can realize that the underlying principle of them is consciousness, which is immortal, and the realization of which keeps one beyond death and makes him the enjoyer of the supreme bliss. Chandogya Upanishad also states that the nature of Atman is Sat, Chit and Ananda, ever existent, consciousness and bliss. All beings here are indeed born from bliss. Having been born, they remain in bliss, and on departing, they enter into the bliss. यतो वा इमानि भूतानि जायन्ते येन जैतानि जीवन्ति यत्प्रयन्त्यपि संविशन्ति तद्विजिज्ञासस्व तद्ब्रह्मेति. Taittiriya Upanishad emphatically declares that the enlightened man who realizes his own nature as bliss is never afraid of anything. Anandam brahmano vidvan nabibheti kutaschana. Three bodies and five sheaths. For the realization of one's own nature, the knowledge of the metaphysical nature of human body is quite essential. As analyzed in the Upanishads, the human frame consists of three bodies and five sheaths. The bodies are gross, subtle and causal, and sheaths are Anandamaya, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya. Gross body. The gross body, also known as physical body, is made up of five elements. They are earth, water, fire, air and space. It constitutes the Annamaya Kosha, the food sheath. It disintegrates into its component parts only after death. This body is the resultant product of our karmas. We experience the existence of this body in waking state. When the karmas are consumed on the dawn of the knowledge of Brahman, we no longer takes up any new body, subtle body. This subtle body is composed of 17 elements and represents three sheaths. The sheath of vital force, pranamaya kosha, mind, manomaya kosha, and intellect, vijnanamaya kosha. The elements constitute five sensory organs such as skin, eye, ear, tongue, and nose, and five motor organs such as mouth, hand, leg, anus, and genital organ, and five vital forces, namely prana, apana, vyana, udana, and samana, and mind and intellect. It is a seat of desires and emotions. It is this body that goes to the heaven and hell and comes back after experiencing the fruit of its actions. Death means the separation of this subtle body from the physical body. It is the subtle body that operates in dream state, causal body. The causal body is the cause of the two other bodies. It is formed of the ultra fine mental energies of causal matter and contains the impressions in a seed form. This body accommodates Anandamaya Kosha and functions in deep sleep. Atman, being different from all these and beyond, has nothing to do with them. It never dies when the body dies. Since the happiness we get in this world is inferior to that of eternal happiness, death is said to be a doorway to eternal happiness. Achilles, a Greek poet and dramatist, also expressed the same opinion by saying that call no man happy till he is dead. When man dies, it means that soul leaves the body but not otherwise, because it is not soul that needs the body, it is the body that needs soul. Here, Swami Vivekananda distinguishes the Indian view from that of Western by saying that Hindus believe that a man is a soul and has a body, while Western people believe he is a body and possesses a soul. So, death is the real state of our eternal existence. This identification is really a mistaken knowledge, and this mistaken knowledge is not the outcome of an indescribable matter. This misidentification of the soul with the body mind complex, which is the experience of everyone. This false identification has no beginning or end, but this can be eliminated with the right knowledge of the real self. Mistaking one thing for the other is the result of not knowing the real nature of that particular thing. Knowing the Atman as the body mind complex and the body mind complex as the Atman is a mistaken false knowledge. We have conceived difference between ourselves and the supreme reality owing to the mistaken knowledge only. If this mistaken knowledge is sublated as such by the right kind of inquiry, it is stultified by the true knowledge which results in self-realization. Then the Atman, which is the core of one's being, reveals himself as pure being, pure consciousness, and pure bliss. This stultification of the mistaken knowledge and the birth of a new knowledge of one's true being, the all-pervading Atman, are two events that happen simultaneously on approaching and receiving the instruction from a guru who is both Jnani and the Tattvadasi. Even though there is no difference of opinion about the death as a disintegration of body and soul, the process differs from individual to individual. Rodaranyaka Upanishad explains the process of death in the following way. When the self becomes weak and senseless, as it were, the organs come to it. It comes to the heart. Again, the top of the heart brightens. Through the brightened top, the self departs, either through the eyes or through the head or through any other part of the body. By this, it is evident that at the time of departure, the soul, together with the organs, comes to the heart. At that moment, the departing soul, on account of its past karmas, has a peculiar consciousness, picturizing it to its next life, and goes to the body, which is revealed by that consciousness. It further explains the plan of consciousness to its next life, the way of departure from the body, the nerves which consciousness passes through various conditions of soul at death. The condition of soul of unreleased and soul of released after death. Death is not the end of everything. Then the self is endowed with a particular consciousness and afterwards passes on to the body that brought to light by the consciousness. This consciousness is determined by one's past karmas. So, everyone is expected to be careful of his actions. One should do good deeds, avoid the bad ones. It is not a sin if we cannot do any good to others, but doing bad to others is severely condemned. Gita, the quintessence of all the Upanishads, assured us that good karmas will never go waste and unnoticed. It will lead for the betterment of the individual in the next birth. The saying goes like this: Nahi kalyanakritaschitu durgatin tatagachyati suchinam srimatangehe yogabrashto vijayate. The span in between death and another birth is also discussed in the Brihadaranyaka. It states that just as a leech dwelling in grass catches another support and withdraws itself, so does the self set aside the present body, makes it senseless, takes up a new body and withdraws itself. By losing body, one loses nothing. Man loses nothing in death. A soul passes in this body through childhood, youth and age. Even so, is it taking on the another body. The sage is not perplexed by this. Dehinosmin yadha dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tadha dehantara praptihi dhirastatra namuhyati. The statement of Jalaluddin Rumi, the famous Sufi saint, is also worth mentioning here in this context. I died as mineral and became a plant. I died as plant and rose to animal. I died as animal and I was man. Why should I fear when I was not less by dying? Yet once more I shall die as man to soar with angels blessed. But even from angelhood, I must pass on. It is quite evident that the study of the Upanishads dispels the fear of death. This coffin heart statement that study of the Upanishads has been the solace of my life, it will be the solace of my death is real and truth. Thank you.